Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a support clip for the World Citizen Certificate in Civility for Children and Youth. The takeaway lessons, this is lesson number 5. What should I wear? So bear with me here and we'll pop up the lesson. Alright, here we go. What should I wear? So this is, as was mentioned, lesson 5 in the series of 5 takeaway lessons that come with level 1 in the training, online training for the World Citizen Certificate program. So this lesson is what should I wear, and it covers off the concept of dressing for the occasion, and it builds on lesson 2, which was first impressions, and lesson 3, which was about respecting myself. And so certainly how you dress relates to a first impression. Because we're dealing with children aged 3 to 8, we want to start with simple aspects of first impression, and also in teaching them self-respect, it ties a little bit to how you dress. What are you wearing? So we want to, throughout this lesson, be mindful, and you should read the whole lesson and the backup sources and optional reading as well. But in this lesson in particular, we have a great opportunity to introduce the idea of culture and cultural dress for children to understand that there's more than one right way, unless they're wearing a uniform for school, which some children might be doing. So we want them to understand that depending on what a parent says, depending on the situation, depending on what they're doing at the time, that there is something appropriate that they should probably be wearing. We also want to be mindful of different levels of experience and context. So if you're dealing with children who might not have 6 pairs of shoes to choose from, maybe they don't have shoes, or maybe they have 1 pair of shoes, then we're going to focus on something else, a piece of clothing, or maybe you don't do this lesson at all. Maybe instead you focus on really building out the other 4 core lessons. So we want children to understand what dressing for the occasion means. Part of this is introductions in a subtle way to the idea of social protocol, the nuances of society and how we fit in, expectations for social rules. And for older kids, you can convey some of that outright, but for little children, it's probably more than they need to know. Always I would reference to what the adult or caregiver, parent, or school would say. What are the rules in the house? What does your mom or dad expect you to do? And reference that as well, because certainly for little people, that's going to be the deciding factor for them. In addition, we want children to understand that everyone has a different experience. So be careful when we talk about examples. So maybe a child just lost a grandparent. Maybe it's not a good idea to talk about funeral dress. Maybe, in some places a little girl that's 10 or 12 might have to consider early or childhood marriage, and so we're not going to talk about wedding dress and etiquette. It's better to keep it neutral. Talk about coming to the dinner table. You take your hat off. You put on a clean shirt, you wash your hands. Talk about what do you wear to school, what do you wear when you go to visit somebody. Excuse me. And you can be very specific as the context allows. So we want people to understand what it means, why it's important, this dressing for the occasion, and how do you do it specifically. So are there specific outfits or clothes that are required in a specific occasion? I think another good safe thing might be if it's a sports team, or maybe you have band practice or church or a music class. One strategy would be to ask the children, where do you go? What kind of special things do you do with your family? What's your favorite place to go? Ask them those questions, and then you can use their responses to build out your instructional. So always I think it's important to make sure children have their name card, that they have an identity, that they know how to address each other, and that you can address them by their name as well. So there's a little bit of review and building up on first impressions, and I may have mentioned this a few times. Where possible, always teach the lessons in order. So lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you need additional lessons, we do provide all kinds of lessons. There's extra curriculum if you need in each of the certification levels. So I like to make this one kind of funny, and you can in fact have clothes and play dress up. You can ask children to draw pictures. Say, we're going to the swimming pool. What should we wear? Or if I have a skidoo suit, what should I wear? Maybe they've never seen snow. Maybe they don't know what that is. But you might guess I'm trying to get you to think about the context. So when you go to the supermarket to get groceries with your parent, what do you wear? When you are cleaning out the backyard, maybe you're pulling weeds and helping your grandmother in the garden, what do you wear? And it's not just clothing. It might be everything from hats to safety glasses to gloves to proper shoes to clean underwear. You can start again where the children are, what makes sense to them. An easy one is, what do you wear when you go to bed? And most children will say pajamas, and then you ask them why. Why do you think we take off our clothes and wear pajamas? And you could express to them that it's about keeping things clean. It's about being warm or cool. It's about covering up, so in case you share a room with other people. It's about kind of custom and hygiene. All of those things, right? So in this case, we've got a matching game, and we provided a template, things for you. It's words and pictures, so that children can match. And if we just scroll down here, you can see here's the matching game. We've got some pictures, and we ask them to tie the picture to the word. And so if children are young and they don't read, you might have to do it aloud with them, or you can assign a helper for them. There is a take-home activity here, some journaling. If children are older and they have cameras, you can ask them to make a digital journal, take pictures, of course exercising privacy and discretion. You can ask children as part of this break here, part of the lesson here, what do you wear on a holiday, whether it's Ramadan or Christmas or Easter, maybe it's a religious holiday. Ask them what they wear and why. You can ask children to take turns explaining a cultural holiday and what the clothes mean. In the past, I've had things like sombreros, which were for siesta, resting. The hat covers your face from the hot sun, Mexico and other parts of the world. I've had wooden shoes, which were from Holland, to show how you could walk, in the water, and the wide base, you don't damage the flowers when you're walking through the fields of tulips, for example. You can have things like mucklucks for Aboriginal footwear. You can have different head coverings, scarves, cowboy hats, baseball hats, sunglasses. Bring out some props and ask children what they would wear and why. And it's an interesting and can be a very fun session as well. You can also suggest to children that we're going to have a party at the end of our classes. So whatever date, this is a good time for you to give them the invitation and say to them the dress code is party clothes, and talk to them about what that means, what's appropriate to wear. And there'll be photographs, maybe there's a theme or colors. It's a good way to introduce the idea of dress codes to children. What we want to do is be careful not to express any judgment about the price of clothing or imply in any way that children should have lots of clothing. We don't want to talk about brand names. I think this is a good way to talk about fabrics, maybe for older children. This is wool. This is cotton. You can insert little bits of history lesson. There's all sorts of great clips and videos. Another thing you can do is use socks, old socks, and make sock puppets and talk to kids about how we like to recycle, that you can make shorts out of pants that are ripped at the bottom. This is sort of environmental considerations too, and that ties into our world citizen. You can talk about recycling clothing. You can talk about giving your old clothes that don't fit you to the poor. Sometimes in these classes, I've actually brought little sewing kits and taught children how to sew a button on, because we're teaching post the lesson on self-respect and taking care of themselves and their things, first impressions, taking care of their clothes, sewing on a button, or teaching them how to clean something. Give them swatches of fabric that have stains on them and teach them how to use stain remover. There's so much that you can do that ties this to life skills and respect and being appropriate and introduces the concept of social rules. So if you have some other exciting ideas, ways that you would get this lesson across, activities, anything at all, please do make us a short video and send it to events@civilityexperts.com. We would love to see what you think about sharing.